Now we're going to move into the radial nerve tension, gliding, and slacking sequence. So our pretest for this one is going to be finger, wrist, and elbow extension. So go ahead and fold your wrists back towards you and just kind of notice the angle of your wrist. If you have ever injured your elbow, you might also notice that you want more mobility in your elbow if it gets a little stuck. Lastly, another pretest that you can do is supination, where your palms are facing up. It's like you're holding a bowl of soup. And again, this is something that happens post-injury. We often lose so much mobility because our body holds us in. So for our radial nerve glide, we're going to begin with a long, straight elbow. We're going to turn our hand in so that our pinky is facing the front, and then fold at the wrist. Now we're going to not let the shoulder dip in and curve a lot. We want to try to keep that down. So with the palm up, shoulder down, arm straight, head is going to curl and stretch away from that. So this is our initial tensioning sequence. You might feel it here, you might feel it in your forearm, but again, find that 2 or 3 out of 10. And now from here, we begin with our gliding. So we'll take the wrist, and we'll kind of fan the wrist. And find the initial position, and go through the elbow. Bend the elbow, straighten the elbow. Bend and straight, bend and straight. And then the shoulder is going to lift up and come down. Draw up and come down. Last but not least is the head. And I know it's so tricky to keep this initial position going strong. Take breaks if you need to, but see if you can keep the integrity of it throughout all of the glides. Okay, releasing from that, and go ahead and retest. Flex your fingers and your wrists back. Let your elbows lengthen. And notice if that feels easier or if there's just a little bit more in there. Last but not least, go ahead and supinate your hands. And notice if you have more rotation. Okay, then going into the slacking sequence. Again, the tensioning brings that sort of rubber band long, and the slacking makes everything short. So the slacking sequence from something here goes flip up here. So it's like your hand, your palm is facing up towards the ceiling, and your head tilts toward your hand, and you can give a little lift of the shoulder blade, making that nerve as short, and relaxed as possible. After about 5 seconds, release from that, and then take your retest. Flexing the wrists back, noticing if the side we've been doing feels easier. Lengthen out the elbows, and then supinate the palms. Okay, then we'll move into the second side. So we begin with our shoulder blade down and depressed. Rotate the whole arm so that the pinky's forward, and then fold at the wrist. It's kind of like you're slipping someone a high five behind you, right? Like, just like that. Then from here, head tilts away. So finding that fully tension sequence, 2 or 3 out of 10. I find that I can really find it by drawing my shoulder blade down and back if you haven't already found it. And from here, we'll begin with the fingers coming towards the knuckles and away, towards the knuckles and away, through the wrist, and through the elbow, bending at the elbow, Then drawing the fingers back. And don't worry, as I've said, there's so many awkward movements here. If you find that you get lost, or if you find that you get just a lot of weird tensions going on, just restart. Take a little break and restart. And last but not least, the head's going to come up and come over. Okay, go ahead and release from that. Retest in the wrist, noticing if that feels easier. You can retest in your elbows by extending them out. And then last but not least, supinating the hands. And noticing if it opens up just a little bit more. If not, if that didn't work so well for you, then let's go ahead and move into the slacking sequence. And if you just want to play around, join for the slacking sequence. So hands are going to kind of come up similar to that tray position, but not out to the side. Shoulder blade comes up and head comes to the hand. Again, we have all of these really awkward and yet kind of fun poses to try to relax our nerves. So let everything for the radial nerve close up. And then we'll release and go ahead and retest. Fold the wrist back. Extend through the elbows. And again, kind of what we're looking for, we supinate our hands, is more mobility, more ease in movement, and more support to do the movement itself. It should just feel easier. Okay, that's all for our radial nerve.